So let's look at what we have.
Yeah, a bunch of papers out this morning, and let's see. I'll do what's in front of me. So I've got the Finder, the Publisher. What else is here?
All the papers are here.
Yeah.
What do you want to do?
I'll do the guide if that's okay, the daily guide, and then I'll run through the headlines of the Observer and the Informer as well. And I'll start with the Finder. And banner headline: 1.9 billion Ghana cedis saved in 21 months due to strict scrutiny of procurements, and that's according to the Public Procurement Authority. This is something that I'd love for us to elaborate on a little bit later. Also on the front page, historic economic management team town hall meeting today. It is indeed historic. It's the first time I've heard of the economic management team answering questions from the people of Ghana. Teachers forced to write exam questions on blackboards, and this is a story that made waves on social media yesterday. I'll do the Publisher next. Let's have a look at the front page of the Publisher this morning. Manasseh assassination claims: I was under a spirit. Mugabe Masi tells CID. Yes, I was there when Madam Tiwa Adodankwa made that announcement. Fire officers beat up journalists over April Fool prank. This is a story I want us to consider if we can, just for the dynamics of it. Also, expectations high ahead of town hall meetings on the front page of the Publisher. SNIT takes 77 employers to court. That's also there. Daily guide real quick. Front page. Interpol grabs #1 in Dubai. PPA reports Auditor General 20 entities to Attorney General. CID evasive on Anas boy murder. Also, we found kidnapped girls, and Mugabe charged. Back page of the Daily Guide. Bring back Muntari and Kevin Prince. Interplast supports McDan ITF tour, and Zidane hints Courtois exit. Courtois. Yes, Zidane hints he's exiting from there. All right. Ghanaian Observer next. Let's have a look at the front page. And government's EMT address Ghanaians. That's today. Import duties, Sino Hydro, exchange rate, economy high on agenda. We are showing competence with our policies. That's according to Samira Baumia. #1 caged in Dubai, CID boss. And police grab Ahmed Swale killer. Well, I don't know about that, because that's not what I heard at the press conference. But the Ghanaian Observer reports it. So maybe it happened after we left. Our focus now is to organize elections. That's according to Kofi Amwa, talking on the back page of the Observer about the Normalization Committee's work. Zidane, Varane's future at Madrid. John Boy's FC Mets edge closer to League Two title. And Rafa calls for a £75 million investment. There we go. Let's wrap up with the Informer and banner headline. On repatriation and prosecution of #1, no hope for men's gold customers as CID struggles to make progress. Aftermath of Yoko report into contract scandal, students demand Avoca's reinstatement. Export of power to neighboring countries, MP exposes Akufo-Addo as ASEP blames Dumso on lack of cash. That's it for me.
Let's, okay, Roland will come through.
All right, so let's do the Daily Dispatch. You have on the front page how to sidestep major diseases. It's in tomorrow's Daily Dispatch. The publishers are saying, well, the main story occupying the front page, All Die Be Die. It's a recollection of publications in February 2011 and Boot for Boot also in January 2019. Okay, you have pictures of President Akufo-Addo and ex-President Mahama. Nigeria has jailed 200 persons over sale of pre-registered SIM cards. We have not.
Ghana for more.
Worst performing stocks found in Ghana as foreigners exit. And this is a publication that was put on the portals of Bloomberg about 2-3 days ago, and it tells you about, you know, sections of the economy that may not be doing too well, and the confidence that foreigners or foreign investors have in our economy. And if you take a critical analysis of the story, you get to know, well, which of the stocks have been performing and not too well, also on the Ghanaian bourse. We have minimizing corruption in Ghanaian politics. The story is on page 2 of the Daily Dispatch newspaper. And on the back page, of course, the Daily Dispatch is taking you down memory lane. Akufo-Addo's all die be die, and Mohammed's boot for boot. Let's do the Daily Statesman newspaper. It has on the front page, "Our eyes are open," and President Akufo-Addo is quoted there. Baumia leads EMT, the economic management team. We told you that if you want to get all the latest updates, well, we have that event coming on live from 10 a.m. It should be the JoyNews channel.
Let's do the daily. Oh,
and then we have PPA saves Ghana 1.9 billion Ghana cedis. Procurement reforms begin to clear institutional mess. If you've gone through the procurement process, registering your company to be one of the service providers, you get to know that these days what they do is quite rigorous. Yeah. Okay. So we have also the next paper. It's actually the last one I have. The Independent newspaper has, of course, the vice president occupying it. The Independent newspaper always has the vice president there, most of the time, if not. Vice president charges African nations to tackle maritime plastic pollution. All is set for the maiden town hall meeting with the vice president, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and the story is on page 2. Just giving you a preview of what is expected to transpire at the event from 10 a.m. this morning. Nobody.
Let's do the Daily Graphic in the Ghanaian Times newspaper. So the graphic first, front page, Health Facilities Regulatory Agency certifies CAF. Be careful of high-yielding investments. They are risky. That's a call by SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission. Cabinet increases Minerals Commission emoluments, bans excavator imports. Takrady kidnapped girls. Actually, the banner headline, "We know where they are," CID says. Kojo was there yesterday. He will tell us the backstory. Ghana launches online app on HIVs. Another headline on the front page. Back page of the paper, man 38 busted at KIA, the Kotoka International Airport, with $1.4 million. Also health facilities. Okay, so the full story of the fact that CAF has been certified by the Health Facilities Regulatory Agency is on the back page. Center spread and ensure timely information flow on outages. A call by the energy minister. You sleep with lights, you wake up and there's no lights. Factor waste management into development of coastal areas. VIP urges African countries. Let's do the last paper, which is the Ghanaian Times newspaper, front page. Police locates 3 kidnapped girls to be reunited with families soon. PPA saves 1.9 billion Ghana cedis for government, and 6 fire service personnel attack is in court radio station after April Fool prank. Nam1 re-arrested in Dubai, according to police. Back page, electronic database for HIV/AIDS patients launched, and 2 organizations provide farm and community with borehole and a library. Center spread. Speaker bids farewell to students going to study in Serbia. Police, the full story of the location of the 3 kidnapped girls, but it's not exactly like the location, because the CID saying yesterday that they know where the girls are and that they would soon be reunited. So that's it for the graphic and the Ghanaian Times newspaper by way of headlines.
Okay.
You are the CID headquarters.
Yes.
Talk about the briefing, right?
I was going to say, I suspect we should spend more time on that. So I'm going to quickly just mention this story about the public procurement so we can move off it and then talk about the press police press conference. So they held a press conference as well, PPA. They say that they've saved Ghana 1.9 billion Ghana cedis over a period of 21 months, and they've done this due to strict scrutiny of procurements. And they mentioned a number of things, a number of malpractices, procurement fraud, basically, that they have identified. They use some terms like bid tender suppression, complementary bidding, bid tender rotation, which allows competitors to arrange to win contracts in turns, collusion, and then there was another one called lowballing. Now, he says that by detecting these things, they have saved Ghana 1.9 billion. And they have also made some recommendations to the Attorney General for prosecution of those involved in this. Now, the first thing I noticed was that all of these anomalies involve the bidders. So, for example, when he talks about bid tender suppression, complementary bidding, bid tender rotation. Bid tender rotation is when a number of bidders come together and decide that we're going to win contracts in turns. So you go first and I go next. Okay, he talks about lowballing, where the bidder will put in a low bid, win the thing, and hope that later he can use variations to bring the amount up. Now, the thing about this is that none of these things can be done without the collusion of the state officials, the officials in charge of the bid process. Because the bidder has to have certain information in order for his scheme to work. And that information can only come from the state. And the bidders should not have that information if the bid is being done in a legal way. If it's being done in a transparent way, you are the one who's providing information to the institution. You shouldn't be getting information from the institution apart from the specification of whatever they wish to procure. So that insider information that allows them to do these things, that should be our main focus when we are looking for people to prosecute. But in the entire delivery of the Public Procurement Authority boss, Mr. Ajinim Boateng Eje, all we heard about was how the private contractors are, doing the wrong thing. I want to see the state institutions being, the people who run procurement in the state institutions being questioned, being interrogated, being tried, because they are the ones who are, letting our money out. A private contractor cannot come and put his money in the public purse and take the money, unless somebody whose job it is to guard the purse lets the money out. So the procurement officials in all of these state institutions, and he talks about a number of state institutions, about 20 of them, that they have scrutinized in this period to save 1.9 billion, almost 2 billion from 20 institutions. Who are the people in charge of procurement there? And why did it take the Public Procurement Authority to come and find out what their contractors are doing? If nobody is going to be tried, somebody must be sacked. So for me, I'm glad. This is a lot of money. This will buy a lot of dialysis machines, hospital beds. It will build a lot of schools. It will build a lot of bridges across rivers. It will buy a lot of ambulances. It's a lot of money. So it's a positive thing. We're glad that we are able to save such money through scrutiny. But you see, it shouldn't end there. We've saved the money. How do we make sure that it never happens again? How do we make sure that the people that we are asking to guard the public purse wouldn't dare let us lose this amount of money just because we are not looking at them?
I think if you look at the processes that are inherent in the procurement law, and especially the entity tender committees and the various reviews that are undertaken before contracts are awarded, it also speaks volumes about how perhaps a consolidated or comprehensive the procurement law we have in our country is. Yep. And it's always a problem of implementation, isn't it? And the way the supervision is done to make sure that the various regulations or the clauses that are in the acts or the laws that we have are monitored and then supervised and implemented in such a way that the state is put first. I think that we have to draw a certain distinction. Companies or entities or firms that undertake varied works if it's anywhere across the globe, tend to have intelligence picked wherever they have to pick it. But where intelligence or information is given to companies at the detriment of the state, that is wrong. Related to that, and also all the related issues of procurement that we have across the public space, is the fact that government doesn't tend to pay suppliers, and indeed all these people have gone through processes to be registered as suppliers quickly enough. And because we have volatilities in the economy, contractors or suppliers we have in our country have had that at the back of their minds constantly. And as a result, they tend to inflate the prices, thinking that maybe they are thinking for the economy, or they are thinking because of the volatilities we have, based on what the implications will be for pricing. If they were priced in January at price A and likely to be having a payment the next year at price B. And that should be a concern for all of us. So those volatilities also need to be taken into consideration when we're doing all these things and trying to implement what the content are in the procurement.
On the plus side, Procurement Authority is looking to introduce something called BAFO, the best and final offer. So in essence, you don't just submit one bid, but your bids have to be responsive. So they tell you the spec, you bring the bid, and then they ask you, what can you do to improve it? And they'll give every bidder that opportunity, so that at the very end, you give your best and final offer. So it's kind of like we're haggling. And just by introducing that, you save money. Just by introducing that process of best and final offer, you save a little bit more money, even when you are doing things legally and without any fraud. So we look forward to seeing the results of that as well. All right, shall we talk about the press conference?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, maybe I'll brief you quickly on all the things that were said, but very quickly, because there are a number of cases that we got updates on. The first one was, you remember...
We reported on many of them.
That's right.
Yeah.
The first one was, you remember the story of the armed robbers who attacked some British girls. There's a group of 10 British people who, 10 British people who came to Ghana. 5 of them were girls, 5 were guys. So those 5 British ladies and 1 Ghanaian lady were raped when these 3 armed robbers robbed them in Kukrobite. Guess what? That same day, they went and robbed another organization. Like, and when they were caught, no, this one wasn't in East Legon, it's a business. Now, when they were caught, they confessed to 10 other cases, making 11 in total. So these 3 individuals, 1 Ghanaian, 2 Nigerians. They have 2 accomplices who are Nigerians who are on the run, but these 3 are in the custody of the police. They are the 3 who committed the crime against the British and 1 Ghanaian. In fact, the group in Kukrobite. And so they are now in the grips of the police, and they've confessed to all of these crimes. They raped 12 women from last year till now. You know, prolific criminals. East Legon seems to be their area of operation, and they always seem to know their targets very well. You know, and they make away with lots and lots of money. 21 million cedis worth of stuff. Yeah. Right. They gave an update on the Ahmed Swale case. Police have interviewed 13 people, including Anas and Kennedy Japan. One of these people they've interviewed is still in custody, still in police custody. And then they clarified this issue of an arrest. They said they haven't arrested or bailed anyone. There was somebody they attempted to arrest, but the crowd at the scene didn't allow the single policeman who was unarmed to arrest the guy, so he absconded. There was an update on the kidnapped girls. The CID says they know where they are, but they haven't brought them home yet, and they wouldn't tell me whether or not the girls are in Ghana, but they say that the girls will be brought home soon. And Manasseh's threat case, you know that Mugabe Mase said that somebody will kill Manasseh in June. So they arrested him, they asked him questions about it, or they invited him, whatever the correct term is. They asked him questions about it. He's now before court. He's been charged with offensive conduct and publication of false news capable of causing fear and panic. He asked about why the girls have not been... Kennedy Japan is also under investigation, by the way. That's ongoing. Nam1, we all know, released on bail on the 25th of March and then rearrested. And then the Australia Paralympic visa fraud. We learned that apparently the CID were only asked to investigate whether Pius Hajide was culpable or not. not to investigate the case and find out who was, but just check whether it is Pius Hajide or not. So they checked and it wasn't him. So that's it. They are
so
now.
Who was it?
They are no. That's the point I'm making to you. They were not asked to find out who it was. Yes, they were not asked to find out who it was. I don't know. This is my opinion, but I think that's a waste of CID's resources. So if there's a crime, you give them names and ask them, check if it's this man, check if it's this man, until they checked all the 30 million Ghanaians. Is that how you solve crime? Or do you simply investigate? And then you find out who did it. Why do we care who didn't do it? You know, so for me, I mean, whoever asked them to do that job, I feel they've wasted CID resources. And finally, number 12, the Attorney General's office will either advise the police or give them direction because they've got all the evidence. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that press conference was a bit of a giveaway, if you ask me, because questions have been raised about whether if you say that you know where the girls are and what you're doing to trace the kidnappers, or relatedly, even some of these suspects in some of these cases, whether you haven't given intel away, and I don't know whether the police is frustrated as a result, or that they have to convene that press conference to address some of these lingering problems about whether they are solving these crimes or not solving them. But I think that in trying to do all this, they need to go about some of these activities in such a way that the confidence that the public has in them will be reposed in such a way that also these perpetrators of these crimes could be brought to book. Now, if you're telling me that you know where the supposed perpetrators of these crimes are, you know where even the victims are, but at the end of the day, you can't pinpoint or even liaise with the families to tell them that these are the steps that were taken, and so far these are also the achievement made, then it's a concern. Because it looks like following the event, the families have been interviewed. They don't know the steps taken so far by the police, where the police have reached, and the efforts that have been made by the police so far in relation to the victims who are their relatives. Yeah.
Okay, it's time for sports. There's a story in the newspaper that I thought we could touch on, but we don't have time. 6 fire service personnel attack radio station after April Fool prank. It's in the Ghanaian Times newspaper. If you have time, you can check it out. So basically, they got a report. The station says they got a report that there was an accident, and they called the fire service, and there was no accident. So the firemen got really angry, stormed the station, and they decided to beat up people that they saw and destroy things.
Yeah.
The station is apparently owned by a deputy minister. Yeah. Okay, so details of that in the paper. You can check it out.
Why not just report them to be arrested? Because that's a crime, you know, when you waste the time of security. So it's a crime. So report them, have them arrested. When you go and damage their property, you're also committing a crime.
They say they are resolving it amicably. Apparently.
It's a crime. There's no amicable resolution here. They should take the matter up and investigate and arrest who must be arrested.
We have to do sports.